You might be practicing your English, feeling pretty good about your vocabulary, your grammar, and then someone just casually drops, well, time to bite the bullet, or maybe, hey, don't spill the beans.
Right.
And suddenly you're thinking, wait, bullets? Beans? What's going on?
It can definitely throw you off.
Absolutely. If that sounds familiar, well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Deep Dive, your guide through this wonderfully weird, sometimes illogical world of English idioms.
That's a fascinating world.
It really is. You see, moving from textbook English to, actual fluent conversation, there's a gap.
Pretty significant one, yeah.
On one side, you've got the rules, the literal meanings, but then there's this whole other side. Vibrant, colorful, used by native speakers all the time.
Did with idiom.
Exactly. They're like the secret handshake of fluency, Cultural shorthand. Adds so much flavor, personality.
Nuance, definitely.
So our mission today is to really get inside these idioms, not just memorize a list, but understand the whole concept, meaning, feeling, history, where it fits.
And that's so important. Knowing idioms, using them correctly, it signals a really deep, almost instinctual grasp of the language.
Yeah, and the culture behind it.
Exactly. It's what lifts your English from just good to sounding really natural, really fluent.
So what's the plan for today?
Okay, so we're going on a bit of a journey. We've picked 10 common, really useful idioms.
10 key ones.
Yep. And for each one, we'll dig into the meaning, explore the often surprising origin stories, look at the subtle nuances.
How they feel when you use them.
Right. We'll give you real-life examples and, crucially, point out common mistakes to avoid.
Good, because that's easy to do.
It is. But the goal is, by the end, you won't just know what they mean. You'll actually feel confident enough to start weaving them into your own conversations.
Sounding more natural, more expressive.
Exactly. More fluent. So, ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Okay, first up, bite the bullet. Literally, ouch. Sounds painful. What's the real deal here?
Yeah, the literal image is intense, isn't it? Idiomatically, to bite the bullet means facing a difficult, unpleasant situation when you probably can't avoid with courage.
Okay, like stoicism, resolve.
Exactly. And during hardship, maybe pain, because it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And the origin. It's just as visceral, maybe even more so.
Oh, where is it from?
It comes from 18th, maybe 19th century battlefield surgery, before modern anesthetics.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a soldier needing, say, an amputation, excruciating pain, obviously.
Right.
They were literally given a lead bullet to clench between their teeth.
Seriously, a real bullet.
A lead bullet, yeah. To stop them screaming or fainting or biting their tongue during the procedure.
That's incredible and incredibly grim.
It is. But that act of, immense bravery and endurance became this powerful metaphor for facing down something awful but necessary.
Wow. Okay, that origin really sticks with you. So given that intensity, when would you actually use this? It's not for everyday annoyances, right?
Absolutely not. You save bite the bullet for significant difficulties, things involving, emotional, physical, maybe financial hardship.
So it carries some weight.
Definitely. It has this tone of, grim determination, a sense of finality. The decision's made. Now comes the hard part. It actually acknowledges the person's strength.
So it's almost a compliment in a way, recognizing the toughness needed.
In a way, yes. It shows how English often praises specific kinds of courage. Like, maybe you hate going to the dentist, right?
Uh-huh.
But the toothache is terrible. You might say, ugh, I just have to bite the bullet and make that appointment.
Okay, that makes sense. Unpleasant, but necessary.
Or a manager facing layoffs for the company's survival might say, it's awful, but it looks like we have to bite the bullet.
Got it. So the mistake is using it for trivial stuff.
Exactly. You wouldn't bite the bullet to eat your vegetables. It just sounds, melodramatic.
Right. Totally out of proportion. Okay. Now, speaking of things maybe being revealed, what about spilled beans? Where do beans come into secrets?
Yeah, spill the beans. It means revealing a secret or letting out confidential information. Usually kind of unintentionally or maybe carelessly.
Like once they're spilled, you can't easily put them back.
Precisely. The damage is done. The most intriguing origin theory takes us way back. Ancient Greece.
Ancient Greece? Really?
Yeah, possibly related to their democratic processes or maybe secret societies. The idea is that members voted using beans.
Beans for voting.
White beans for yes, black beans for no, dropped into a jar secretly. The votes were kept hidden until the official count.
Okay.
But if someone, clumsily knocked over the jar and spilled the beans early,
Ah, The secret result is out prematurely.
Exactly. That accidental revelation is thought to be the ancestor of our idiom.
That's a fantastic story. It gives the phrase a slightly playful or gossipy feel, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's almost always informal. Definitely carries that playful, maybe slightly indiscreet tone.
Can you ask someone to do it?
Oh, yeah. You can use it as a command, like, come on, spill the beans. What happened at the party?
Okay.
It can suggest the reveal was an accident, or maybe a deliberate bit of indiscretion. It's interesting how English uses this kind of imagery for secrets, right? Adds a layer you don't get with disclose information.
Yeah, much more colorful. Like an example.
Sure. We tried to keep the surprise party secret, but my little sister spilled the beans.
Classic little sister move.
Totally. Or maybe at work, informally. Someone in HR spilled the beans about Sarah's promotion, now everyone knows.
Gotcha. So the mistake here is using it in really formal situations.
Definitely. Don't put spilled the beans in a legal document or a serious report. Disclosed confidential information is what you want there.
Makes sense. Okay, from secrets to something else that can cause a shock money. Cost an arm and a leg. We hear this all the time. What's the story? Is it as gruesome as it sounds?
Huh. Well, it means something is incredibly expensive. Prohibitively so. That's hyperbole, right? An exaggeration.
Meaning it feels like you gave up something incredibly valuable.
Exactly, like your own limbs. The origin, though, is actually really debated. There isn't one single confirmed source, which is kind of interesting itself.
Oh, what are the theories?
Well, one popular one relates to portrait painting back in the day.
Portrait painting?
Yeah, apparently getting a portrait that included your arms and legs, not just your head and shoulders, cost significantly more. More work for the artist, more skill.
So literally adding arms and legs cost more.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Another theory, a bit darker, links it to war.
How so?
Thinking about veterans, maybe from the American Civil War or World War I, who literally lost limbs, that represents the ultimate price, something invaluable.
That's a much heavier interpretation.
It is, but whether it's painting or war, the core idea is the same. Arms and legs are priceless, so giving them up, metaphorically, signifies the highest possible cost.
So when people use it, what's the feeling? Is it just about the price?
It's usually informal and definitely expressive. It conveys shock, maybe frustration, or complaint about how high a price is.
So not something you'd say in a formal budget report.
Probably not. More like complaining to a friend afterwards, and it applies mostly to goods or services.
Like buying a car or fixing one.
Exactly. I'd love that new phone, but it costs an arm and a leg. Or, quote for fixing the roof, it's going to cost an arm and a leg.
Okay. And the mistake. Using it too lightly.
Yeah. Don't use it if something is just, slightly more expensive than you hoped. It's an exaggeration, so save it for prices that genuinely feel outrageous or shocking.
Got it. Reserve the limbs for the truly wallet-busting moments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from high costs to rare events. Once in a blue moon. I know a blue moon is a real thing, astronomically speaking, but how did that become shorthand for very rarely?
Right. Idiomatically, once in a blue moon means exactly that. Very rarely. Almost never. Something that happens so infrequently it's notable.
And the connection is the moon.
It is, yeah. It's tied to the astronomical definitions of a blue moon. The most common one people know now is the second full moon within the same calendar month.
Which doesn't happen often.
Right, only about every 2.7 years on average. And there's an older definition, too, about the third full moon in a season that has 4 full moons. Also rare.
So the phrase came from the rarity of the event itself.
Pretty much. The phrase actually goes way back, like to 1528, initially meaning never or a very long time.
Ah, so it shifted slightly.
Yeah, as people realize blue moons do actually happen, just rarely, the meaning shifted from absolutely never to very, very rarely.
It sounds quite gentle, almost whimsical. Is it more poetic than just saying rarely?
I think so. It has that gentle, slightly whimsical feel. It emphasizes the rarity without sounding, clinical or statistical.
Can you use it for good things and bad things?
Both, absolutely. It shows how language can take something scientific and make it poetic, right?
Yeah.
You could say, my cousin lives overseas, so we only see each other once in a blue moon. That's maybe a bit sad.
Oh, yeah.
Or, do you eat dessert? Oh, only once in a blue moon is a special treat. That's more positive. It fits most conversations.
And the mistake to avoid.
Just overusing it. If you go camping twice every summer, that's not once in a blue moon. Using it for things that aren't genuinely infrequent kind of dilutes its meaning.
Keep it special. Got it. Okay, from rare events to efficiency. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Sounds, well, efficient, but also a bit aggressive.
Yeah, the imagery is a bit stark, isn't it? But idiomatically, it's all about efficiency. Achieving two separate goals, solving two problems with just a single action.
Getting more bang for your buck, effort-wise?
Exactly. It implies a clever solution, getting multiple things done at once. The origin concept is ancient, actually.
Really? Older than the phrase itself?
Oh yeah. The exact English phrasing pops up around the 17th century. Thomas Hobbes used a version in 1656. But the idea of one action, double reward, that's the stories and cultures way back. Shows how much we value efficiency, I guess.
Makes sense. The imagery is simple. One stone, two birds. Easy to grasp.
Very. It became popular because it's such a clear metaphor.
It really does seem like a goal for busy people. Someone told me they listen to language podcasts while cleaning the house, killing two birds with one stone.
That's a perfect example. It has a positive, resourceful feel, implies cleverness, ingenuity, very common when talking about planning, scheduling, problem solving.
Personal life, work life.
Both.
Yeah.
Like your podcast example.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I need to return these library books and the post office is right next door. I can kill two birds with one stone.
Okay. Business context.
Sure. If we go to that industry conference, we can meet potential clients and scout for new hires. Kills two birds with one stone.
I've heard alternatives like feed two birds with one scone.
Yeah, people sometimes suggest kinder versions, but honestly, the original kill two birds is still overwhelmingly common and generally understood without any issue.
Okay. So the mistake, is it about the goals?
Exactly. Make sure the two things you're achieving are actually distinct goals. Just buying, say, milk and bread at the same store isn't really killing two birds with one stone. It needs to be two separate objectives accomplished by one action.
Got it. Needs that element of clever combination. All right, moving on. Let's talk responsibility. The ball is in your court. This one, it feels pretty clear sports, right?
Dead on. This one's directly from racket sports, like tennis. Became really popular mid-20th century.
And the meaning is just as direct.
Pretty much. It means it's now someone else's turn to act, to make a decision, take the next step. The responsibility has shifted.
Just like in tennis, they hit the ball back to you, now you have to hit it.
Exactly. That clear visual transfer of responsibility works perfectly as a metaphor for life, for business.
Yeah.
Anywhere action passes between parties.
So it's like drawing a line, saying, my part is done, now it's up to you.
Precisely. It creates that clear demarcation. I've done what I needed to do. It can sound neutral, just stating the facts. Or it can carry a hint of impatience, like, come on, what are you waiting for? It implies things are stalled until the other person acts. Very common in negotiations.
Okay, examples.
We set the proposal last week. The ball's in their court now, or maybe in a relationship after someone apologizes. Look, I said I'm sorry. The ball is in your court. You decide if you can forgive me.
Yeah, that shows the weight it can have. And the mistake.
The big one is using it before you've actually done your part. If you haven't sent the proposal yet, you can't say the ball is in their court. That just sounds lazy or like you're trying to shift blame unfairly.
Right, you have to hit the ball over first. Makes sense. Okay, from clear responsibility to something fuzzier, maybe. Clarity that only comes later. A blessing in disguise. What's this one about?
This is a lovely one, I think. A blessing in disguise refers to something that seems bad or unfortunate at first.
Like a misfortune.
Exactly. But looking back, it actually turns out to have a good or positive outcome. It was beneficial in the end, even though it didn't seem like it at the time.
So the blessing was hidden by the initial disguise of bad luck.
You got it. The concept itself, hidden good and apparent evil, is ancient, found in lots of philosophies and religions. But the specific English phrase, we can trace it to the mid-18th century. James Hervey used it in 1746.
And it feels quite optimistic, rooted in faith, maybe.
Yeah, it has that feel. Optimism, perspective, maybe a touch of faith that things might work out for the best, even if it's hard to see how right now. The blessing is only really clear in hindsight.
Ah, so that's key. It's a reflective phrase. You can't really know it's a blessing in disguise while you're still in the middle of the bad stuff.
That's a crucial point. It's inherently reflective. You realize it later. It carries this sense of wisdom, perspective gained over time, often used to comfort someone, suggesting maybe something good will come out of their current struggle eventually.
It really taps into that human need to find meaning, even in tough times.
It does. It shows how language helps us frame that. Examples. Getting laid off was awful at the time, but it was a blessing in disguise because it pushed me to start my own business, which I love.
Okay, a classic example.
Or maybe, I was devastated I didn't get into my first choice university, but it was a blessing in disguise. I met my husband at the other one and found my real passion there.
Right. So the mistake is using it insensitively. Too soon.
Exactly. You wouldn't say it to someone right after they've had terrible news when the pain is still raw. Oh, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. That can sound incredibly dismissive and unfeeling.
Yeah, definitely not comforting then.
No. It's best used when looking back, either about your own experiences or reflecting with someone else once some time has passed.
Got it. Timing and perspective are everything. Okay, from hindsight to pinpoint accuracy. Hit the nail on the head. Such a clear image. Tell us about this one.
It is clear, isn't it? To hit the nail on the head means you've described something perfectly. A situation, a problem. You've said exactly the right thing or found the precise solution. Absolute accuracy.
It's hitting a nail perfectly with a hammer.
Precisely. The origin is pretty straightforward and goes way back. We see versions in English literature from the 16th century. John Lilly used it in 1580.
So it's just that direct carpentry metaphor.
Yep. Striking the nails flat top squarely. Driving it in cleanly, that's the right way, the effective way. So, metaphorically, saying something that perfectly captures the issue is like hitting that nail cleanly. A perfect intellectual or verbal strike.
So it's a strong way to agree with someone or praise their insight.
Absolutely. It's a strong expression of affirmation. Yes, that's exactly right. It praises accuracy, perceptiveness. It's like a conversational reward for a really insightful comment.
Where do you hear it most?
Often in discussions, debates, brainstorming, problem-solving sessions, anywhere people are analyzing things.
Example.
In a meeting, someone says, I don't think the issue is the workload itself, it's the lack of recognition. The boss might say, you've hit the nail on the head. That's precisely what we need to fix.
Nice. Or like in a detective story.
Yeah. The rookie cop offers a theory, and the seasoned detective says, Watson, I think you've just hit the nail on the head.
Perfect. Any big mistakes to avoid with this one?
Not really major ones. Just don't use it to agree with something vague or obviously wrong. That would just be confusing. It implies precision, so use it when something is genuinely insightful and accurate.
Keep it for the bullseye moments. Got it.
Oh.
Okay, total different gear now. Social situations. Break the ice. We all know that awkward feeling. How does this idiom help, and where did freezing water come into it?
Right, break the ice. It means saying or doing something to ease tension, get past that initial awkwardness, and start a conversation, especially when people don't know each other.
Creating a friendlier vibe.
Exactly, making things more relaxed. And the origin is really cool. It's maritime.
Sailing ships again?
Yep. Before we had powerful, modern icebreaker ships, thick ice in rivers or harbors could literally stop all ships, all trade.
Everything freezes up.
Right. So sometimes smaller, especially reinforced ships, or even just crews with tools, would go out and literally break the ice to clear a path for the bigger cargo vessels.
Ah, opening up a frozen channel.
Exactly. And that powerful image of opening up a frozen, stuck situation became a metaphor for unfreezing a stiff or awkward social situation. Shakespeare helped popularize it in The Taming of the Shrew, though others used it around then too.
So it's really about that first step, isn't it? That initial effort.
That's the key. It refers specifically to the initial thing someone does, tells a joke, asks a question, suggests an activity that gets the conversation or interaction flowing.
It acknowledges that starting can be the hardest part.
It does. It admits that initial interactions can be stiff, and sometimes you need a deliberate action to warm things up. It really highlights how we need connection and how language gives us tools for it.
Like a host at a party making introductions.
Or a facilitator at a workshop, starting with a quick, funny anecdote to get everyone comfortable.
Or just asking someone at a quiet gathering, so how do you know the host? To get things started.
Perfect examples. That's breaking the ice, the mistake, using it later on.
Like in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah. If everyone's already chatting away, you don't need to break the ice anymore.
Yeah.
It's specifically for overcoming that initial silence or stiffness at the very beginning.
Got it. For the kickoff only. Okay, last one. A very common phrase. Under the weather. We use this a lot when we're not feeling great. What's the story here? Another nautical one.
Guess it. Another one from the T. To be under the weather means feeling slightly ill, a bit sick, or just generally unwell.
Not seriously ill, usually.
Generally not. It can also mean feeling a bit down, tired, out of sorts, not quite yourself.
And the sailing connection.
On those old sailing ships, if a sailor was feeling seasick or generally unwell, where would they often be sent to rest?
Below deck. Out of the elements.
Exactly. They'd go below deck, literally getting out from under the weather, the wind, the rain, the spray, whatever was happening up on the main deck.
So you go below deck because you feel bad because of the weather, or just to get away from it.
Probably both contributed. But the key is going below, getting under the bad conditions. That evocative phrase for feeling unwell just, well, it sailed ashore and stuck.
It's a nice, gentle way to put it. Is that why it's so common?
I think so. It's versatile, mild, often a bit euphemistic. You use it for minor things. A cold, headache, fatigue.
A polite way to say you're not feeling 100%.
Exactly. You can call in sick to work saying, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, without having to give specific, maybe TMI medical details.
Right. Or just explain why you're maybe a bit quiet or tired.
Sorry, I'm not very chatty. He's feeling a little under the weather today. It's a perfect example of using a gentle euphemism for a personal state. Polite communication.
So the main thing to avoid is using it for something really serious.
Definitely. If someone has pneumonia or broke their leg, saying they're just under the weather would sound like you're really downplaying how serious it is. It just doesn't fit. Keep it for those mild temporary states of feeling unwell or out of sorts.
Makes perfect sense. Wow, what a journey we've taken. From battlefield surgery.
Ancient Greek voting jars.
Sailing ships, carpentry workshops. These idioms really are like little time capsules, aren't they?
They absolutely are. Each one carries a piece of history, a way of seeing the world.
And mastering them, like we talked about, it's clearly so much more than just knowing the definition.
Right. It's about feeling the story behind them, understanding their emotional weight.
The cultural signals they send. When you use the ball is in your court correctly, it's not just words.
No, you're tapping into a shared understanding about responsibility, about taking turns.
Or calling something a blessing in disguise. It conveys that reflective wisdom in a way that just saying, it turned out okay, doesn't quite capture.
Exactly. These phrases really are, as you said, like a passport.
Yeah, a passport to a more nuanced, more expressive, more authentic level of English communication.
And the next step, really, is to start using them. Don't just leave them here in this discussion.
Right. Take them out for a spin.
Exactly. We really encourage you to apply what you've heard. Start listening for these idioms in movies, songs, conversations. Notice the context. How do people actually use them?
Pay attention to when they pop up.
Yes. And then start small. Pick one or two that resonated with you today. Make a conscious effort, maybe this week, to use them in the right situation.
Even if it's just practicing saying them out loud?
Even that helps. And please, please don't be afraid of making mistakes. It's going to happen.
It's part of learning anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is maybe a moment of slight confusion or someone gently corrects you. And honestly, that confusion, that correction, it's a fantastic learning moment. It helps it stick.
That's a great way to look at it. So really, by embracing this wonderfully illogical logic of idioms,
I like that.
you're doing more than just learning phrases. You're actually connecting with, I don't know, the very soul of the English language.
That's beautifully put.
You're learning to paint with its unique colors, maybe play its music, and sort of dance to its unique and vibrant rhythm.